Alright, we're in the Nether. This is a new member of Minerva, the Daniel dude. He has had some trouble today on his first day finding projects to work on, and it's no secret that on Minerva we have a lot of things going on at any given time, and it's pretty tricky to know what to work on. And he's already started on two different projects that were not supposed to happen. So, one main project. First off, he was helping on a wither farm that was not agreed upon or planned, and this is what they've got. It's basically entirely temporary. This thing should okay, so this was built without my or anybody else's approval and was just kind of started as creation, and they messed up on a lot of things. This is a slime block pusher, so it goes back and forth, it sweeps back and forth, typically known as sweeper designs, and then there's obsidian on the floor levels because it doesn't stick to slime blocks. This is bad for two main reasons. The obsidian on the spawning platform there will actually decrease rates by about 80% or more. I might be getting these numbers wrong, but I know it takes a huge hit. The slime block sweeper is also pretty laggy for what it does, and it's also very slow. Not to mention they've only got a 1 block clearance here, which means any slime larger than the babies will get stuck. In fact, the babies won't even get hit by the slime, or by the slime blocks. So they won't even get affected. And then they had to actually start slabbing the nether to even get any spawns, and he's turned it on to demonstrate. So this project is basically not working on any front. It's laggy, it doesn't even work properly, it's slow, it's temporary, and he built it out of obsidian here, which means as a temporary farm, eventually someone's going to have to go through all that obsidian. This is why we need communication. Now, I've already dealt with this issue and why I switched to an upper version, and auto jump is on. I hate that crap. Why is that by default on? Come on, Mojang. But that's not what we're doing today. What I was looking for is, we've got a new member, and a terrible thing for new members to see are a bunch of, red flags every time they try to start a project and they never know what's going on. So the Daniel dude, if you can meet me back to where we kind of just were, I want to talk to you about what I'm doing. So the netherweb is being constructed and mostly designed by our different designers. The idea is done, the logic is done, the piston bolts have already been planned out, they need to go under here eventually. The logic is all there. In fact, none of the redstone has even been built below this. That's all good. Now we're waiting on different applicant builders. Their kind of initiation project have been these different hubs, because I don't know how many of them we'll have, but there'll be several. You can see one of them is here. One of them I just flew past, which is the main spawn hub. I can fly 1 block off the ground. This new Cubto server is amazing. I am super happy about it. And then you can see this different hub here. Rubik's is actually looking for different Pokemon pixel art. And if he hasn't made a decision by then, feel free to leave a comment below if you have any Pokemon ideas. And then the third hub, I should have gone left, that I'm focusing on right now is right over here. This hasn't been built yet. I don't think I explained that well. The new applicant builders are each kind of building different hubs and working on different things, and they're kind of showing off their skills based on what they can do. In fact, one of the hubs is for the mesa biome, and he made it look like it's the inner cave kind of, supported structure underneath a mesa biome, and it looks incredible. Cannot wait to build that in survival. And I've noticed for a while that this tunnel wasn't complete. I saw in the creative world that this is actually complete. This tunnel is, fully built and ready, but only up to this point. This whole hub right here, and you can see they've marked it out almost. Yeah, you can see it's going to be quite a big thing. If I can grab, I don't know if I have any blocks on me, but you can see a tunnel will be there, the typical octagon shape, and it'll be centered about here, or actually more about over here. And then this is where the tunnel is going to go through. This hasn't been designed yet, and I figured, okay, all right, I'll wait. But this tunnel over here is going to need a lot of emerald blocks because this is leading towards the villager area. It appears as though that they've started placing leaves. I don't know if that's what the builders wanted, but I know that emeralds are there in the creative world, and I figure, hey, that might be a good excuse to head over to the villager area, which I haven't showed in I haven't properly showed in a very long time. I think I showed it in an episode a few videos back here, but I think it's as good a time as any for the two of us to head over to the villager area and get some emeralds. He assures me he knows where he's going, so I'm just gonna... Oh, he didn't know where he's going. Hello! So this pathway is yet to be constructed, and here's the whole deal about the villager area. I've discussed this in future videos, so pardon if this is kind of a recap, but we had a somewhat big competition for a bunch of different people to design different areas to kind of mess up pumpkin farms and stuff. And we got a lot of people working on different stuff, and then it kind of just got messed up, and there's a lack of communication, and so this area is kind of just stuck. People stopped working on it because it stopped being super relevant. I think there are even a couple villagers missing in here. Like, I don't think there's one up there, and it's just kind of been ignored. But I'm going to spend a bunch of time here because I think it's time to trade for some emeralds. There are other things, like I found out later on that like trading with farmers here is really difficult because you need to, well, not difficult, but like annoying because you have to circle back to grab all the pumpkins and carrots all the time. And this rail here is because Omar on the server actually programmed a macro to trade with villagers. But as far as I'm aware, in all its ugliness, the villager area is actually functional, and we do have quite a lot of farmers over here that have decent trades, once again to my understanding. And we can either trade with more villagers or just trade for more emeralds. Basically, the bottom line is that I want to get a lot more emeralds, and this is the only way I know how. I just killed like 100 villagers or something. This area is... Oh gosh, okay, so this is a perfect example of, you know, like this is not how I designed it. Because when the villager area was built, I had actually done a lot of different designs in creative mode to actually build this whole area. And then the guys just kind of went ahead and built it. Because I've done a lot of trading on past worlds, I kind of just swore this area off. And I didn't want to mess with it. So now that should be somewhat functional. So if we want to trade with villagers, we've got like a fisherman here, we don't need him. And then he gets dropped off in the wrong spot. Okay, so I'm probably not going to mess with that too much, at least not on camera, but you can see one of the changes the guys made was this big water hill brings them up 4 extra blocks and then drops them down. That way you can kill them in one shot. However, if you have a sweep attack, you can kill a bunch of villagers at once. I am not even sure if that's good or not. I know Crime Lord set up this control. Oh, and now we got 2 in one spot. Alright, does he drop off? Okay. Well, I guess the trapdoors are a fix. Maybe I need to update this design, because if you guys have seen this video on my channel, it's from 1.8, and I haven't actually made any changes to it since, even though the drop-off mechanics have been tweaked quite a bit. There are a bunch of comments where people have found different fixes for this, but other people are still reporting it to not work. So I might have to make an update video on this. However, I think it is now functional. Fisherman, we don't want him. After a little while, he gets dropped off. Okay, so one of the things I never actually explained were things like this, where in this configuration, at least in this east-west direction, when the villagers were coming back this way, if this was open right here, they get dropped off over here, and then the villagers would all have built up in one spot. I figured out that you can toggle this with the piston, so if the 2 air blocks above the villager aren't clear, then they can come on the block. However, when the piston pushes it down, they can't pop off like this, and I found that as a nice way to disable this. And I don't know if the trapdoors are 100% necessary, but it would appear as though that's what the other guys thought would work too. And then you get times like this, where when the villager is still dead and then it immediately becomes active, then the villager can get stuck. That's infuriating and makes this thing incredibly annoying to use. In 1.8 it was a lot more reliable, but I guess this is what we have to work with the modern redstone. I say modern, but it's been out for like a year, hasn't it? Alright, as far as emerald getting goes, this is what I guess we're starting with. This was already in here. Stack of blocks is not going to be nearly enough. However, if you will let me access him, there is a perfect farmer right here, which basically means he's got a 15-15 trade, 8 on the pumpkins, and then 7 on the melons. A very perfect farmer would even have the 18 wheat trade, and wheat is a great thing to just have as an extra crop, and then you can just unlock his trades. It would appear as though what Omar was doing was he had a macro where he came here, traded with him and whatever, and if his inventory was active, his macro would, if his inventory was empty, his macro would send him back over here, and then apparently he would empty all these chests. Oh, okay, so these melons, there are actually a lot of melons in here. These need to be crafted by the player, and then there are no shortage of pumpkins. In fact, I believe they even shut down that farm over there because we were getting way too many crops and this probably was full. Alright, so he wanted to see just how many emeralds we needed for this thing. So we're in the creative world right now. Enos got TNT on his head. Daniel, if you want to just teleport to us in spectator mode or so, I think this is what they need. I don't know what this tunnel's for. Okay, this is not what I wanted the emeralds for. I don't even...
This is a
Wow!
bit more than what I thought.
Oh, oh, spoiler alert, spoiler, I can't show that. I want to build that in survival before I... This is not this. Okay, so I think it's instead of the leaves, they want to do emerald block. What is this? Dead vine, how I get it? Oh, that's funny. This is the tunnel I was just talking about. This is the main hub for the storage room, and the tunnel is basically built up to here. And then we've just got an empty space where there will be another hub. These are the emeralds that we're getting now. I have no idea how many we'll need, but I like the idea of marking this short tunnel from spawn to the end um, with these vines. The idea is like the middle portal will be spawn, and then this portal over here will be to the end. And each hub kind of has a main area, with this hub probably being the most populated, because we'll have a portal right here in the middle, which will bring you to the witch huts and the sorting system. And then over here we'll have the slime farm, then the mob farm, I guess, and then the, what's black? Oh, mob heads, so that must be the charged creeper farm, and then the north slime farm perimeter. So you can see it's got that octagon shape. Get it? It's an octagon. But yeah, so this is why we need so many emeralds. I guess it's time to... Oh, and Ina's joining us, so got that going for us. So Ina just did the math on that long tunnel, and you said 36 stacks of emerald blocks?
Yeah.
Okay. So back in the day, on my old single play, well, okay, on the world before the world that we called Minerva, which ended up being Minerva Season 1, this would be Season 2, I used to just, I had two perfect farmers, perfect quote quote, I don't think they were actually perfect, they might have been, but they had 15-15 pumpkin melon trades, and I think they had 8 for the, no, they had 15-15 carrot potato, and they had an 8 for the pumpkin, so that's all I knew. They were basically perfect farmers, and I would just come home after school and I would spend... Okay, remember guys, this was before I had a YouTube channel. I was watching House. I remember this vividly. The House MD show, great show. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Um, I just traded with emeralds. I just did what I'm doing right here for hours and hours and hours. And one day I wanted to get like a double chest of perfect diamond chest plates, all the diamond armor and all the best diamond tools. And so I went ahead and traded 28 stacks of emerald blocks in about an afternoon. And I went to my Enderman farm and just enchanted everything. And it was, I say mine because like I said, this was basically a single player world. Can you unlock this guy, am I right? Because it was me, Viral, and a few other people, and it wasn't super popular yet. Obviously, when we picked up a lot more traction is when I started the world that ended up being Minerva. And I just wanted to tell this story because I don't trade with villagers much anymore. The reason I kind of swore off this area is because I think with old worlds combined, I've traded with villagers something like 60,000 times or more. Like, if you guys think I'm being lazy by just putting this project off to the other members, no. I've probably killed 20,000 villagers, and I've probably traded 60,000 times or more. I've put my time in. So, yeah, I just wanted to tell that story because, I mean, I know a lot of people have done, like, single player perimeters and stuff, where they just, like Doc M told how he just came home, and before there were even enchantments in the game, took his pickaxe and he dug. He would spend all his hours after work just digging. And I understand that because it's just so relaxing to click with these villagers and trade, and then you get this nice reward of a lot of emeralds, which is not commonly seen in worlds. Like, most people just make a macro for this, and I've always been kind of opposed, not seriously, but pretty opposed to macros for trading, because I feel like you have to do so much by hand when trading that to make a macro for it, you're kind of just, the game's just playing itself. crafting macros are a little bit different. I agree how that's kind of just saving time. With villagers, I don't know. It just feels like it's a little bit less. I don't know. I don't want to say more cheaty, but that's kind of where I'm going with this. But with the three of us trading, I think this can actually be really productive. I think the Daniel dude is using pumpkin and melons, so if he is, then he should be unlocking all the villagers that I'm locking, and this is a pretty nice. I was gonna say symbiotic. Does that still work for more than two? I don't know. It was a nice symbiotic relationship, but end of the goal here is apparently 36 stacks of emeralds, which is completely overkill because that's for a tunnel that we're not even gonna do. Oh yeah, and trading has this nice side effect of repairing all your tools.